Ready? Okay.
5 seconds.
Okay, we have a quorum, call the meeting in order. Reading and approval of the minutes of the previous meeting. So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Additions, corrections, comments? Lacking any, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Bills, communications, treasurer.
We have pretty much the standard that you have every month. You've got the NYSEG invoices, your executive director and administrative services, an invoice from CNS for continued support on all of that stuff that you're doing. There was a large invoice from Highlander to get them paid up to date. I believe that was already paid though.
It was,
Just to get,
and we were also reimbursed for it.
there you go. Also reimbursed. There's a invoice from Harris Beach and then your typical Garda Cloud for your technology and QuickBooks.
I just asked Michael, Harris Beach,
Mhm.
can that be put towards specific projects?
They typically are. So in this instance, it was, Justin usually does when he is billing us.
Oh, there he is.
He can speak to his invoice directly. If he's invoicing us directly, it's for work direct for the IDA. If it's for a client, that goes to the client.
All right, so if this is direct to us, right, Justin?
Yes.
That's correct, and typically we allocate it and detail it so it can be reimbursed under the EDA grant or the ESDC grant on the sewer side.
Okay, so this is for the sewer?
Yeah.
Okay,
Turn that up just there. Sound good. Is there a motion to approve the bills, communications?
I'll move.
Discussion, any further discussion on the bills?
Are we, so with this payment, non-payment of Highlander, are we paid up to them?
We are all paid up with them. We did an earlier payment to them rather than waiting for the board meeting today because the EDA informed us their accounting services would be down and would not be able to process reimbursement until maybe mid-October. So we pushed it through and got the reimbursement in time.
So we're set with them, we're set with Justin. Is there anything else that or are you gonna talk about it later that we're not, or still, any retainage or anything else that we need to pay for the sewer line before Carl takes it today?
Well, he's not taking it today. We still need to do a true up with Highlander. This is close to our final payment to them right now. And part of that final payment is we've got to go through a whole thing with the EDA. So we're not there quite yet, but later on in the agenda, I know Steve certainly has some updates for us as we're nearing the end here.
Questions on the bills? All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. We'll move down to, which one are we moving to?
Project authorizing resolutions under new business for the Sunny's Dog Corners and Scipio Center solar projects. And we have with us today 2 representatives for the projects. I'll pause here to let them introduce themselves.
Great, thanks, Mike. So my name's Chip Redling, Vice President of Development with Cordelia Power. Also in attendance is Lori Cooner, Development Manager with Cordelia Power. And I note on the Zoom call is Rob Panashi, attorney with Young Summer, who represents us.
Sorry, Larry, what was your last name again?
Kunert, Kunert.
Thank you.
I believe everyone here is pretty aware of these projects. We went through this process last year and the company opted to pause at that time. I believe they're in a position to proceed forward now. Part of the project authorizing resolutions is to proceed with an agent agreement and to close on a full pilot in the early part of 2025. First.
So happy to, thank you. So glad to be here. Thanks for taking the time, well, allowing us to participate in the meeting. Wanted to give an update on Cordelia Power, who are we? Talk about Sunny's briefly, give you some updates on the projects, set some expectations, and of course, I brought a stack of cards here needed. So I'll leave those. Cordelia Power, we are a company that develops, owns, constructs, and will soon operate wind, solar, and storage renewable projects throughout the U.S. and Canada. We're backed by a Canadian pension plan infrastructure fund is our backer. That same infrastructure fund is backer of other companies, other renewable companies within the United States and also within Canada. So some time ago, I believe it's around December 2021, Cordelia Power acquired the portfolio of SunEast. Right, so we became the financial backers of that. We became it was essentially that. So we were the backers of SunEast and their development efforts within New York. SunEast had a number of projects under development at that time. I count probably 23, 24 projects, including Dog Corners and the Scipio project. So, as Mike said, an application had been filed for a full pilot on those two projects. Recently, to complete the application, we submitted a waiver request, which I'll get into in a moment. And kind of, if it's okay, happy to answer questions at any time. And would love to give you a quick update on where those projects are. And then I can go into an explanation of the waiver request, if that's okay. All right, Dog Corners. Well, both of these projects in general, it's our intent to start construction on these two projects in March of 2025. Both are still in the 20 megawatt range, and it's our intent to have them all up and running, preferred by the end of 25, but it may slip into 2026 depending on weather conditions, those types of things. So that currently both are within the same time frame to start construction, which, as Mike said, would mean that we would want to close on the full pilot prior to that. I would say in the January, perhaps early or mid-February timeframe. Okay. The waiver request, we're requesting for a 75% waiver of the local labor requirement for the pilot. As we state in there, there's a couple reasons why it's 75% as regards to any other number in here. And I believe you have discussed this a bit prior with your meetings with SunEast. It's very, very difficult for us as we will not construct the project. We'll hire two companies we are hiring to construct the project. One is CS Energy, who's done a ton of projects in New York, renewable projects. The other one is O'Connell Electric, who is based in New York, and again has also done many, many projects in New York. But we're not quite to the point yet where we've signed agreements with them to construct. Those are being finalized. Expect they'll be signed in the next couple of weeks, so that they're prepared to start construction in March. So why the waiver at 75%? It's very, very difficult, I'll say impossible, for us to accurately predict the amount of local labor, since those two contractors I mentioned will be the ones that will hire the labor. So they'll be the ones to go out locally first, right, within the county, certainly within the state, in order to source labor. But the problem is we're not sure of exactly how much. So we can estimate generally, as you would know with any of these types of civil works projects, companies that do civil works, install fencing, great example. Gravel, do the project, any kind of physical works, moving dirt, clearing things, is all going to be local labor, sourced as local as possible. So we know that for a fact and expect that that would be approximately 25% of the total, hence the 75%, right? Also within the labor request is a document that allows us to report on a quarterly basis, which allows us to, I would call it true up, how much local labor we'll use, right? So I'm excited about that because I feel quite confident it will be greater than 25% local labor used throughout the construction of the project. At the end of the, and when we reach COD, we can essentially finalize everything. So that's the kind of the nexus behind it. That's, and I'm happy to entertain questions, please.
So when you speak to your two major contractors, so for instance, we give you an idea of how much local labor we want you to hire. What idea or what parameters do you give your contractors as far as how much local labor, right? Or do you give them the same instructions? A lot of it has to be local labor, or you just leave it to them to decide whom they should hire?
Yeah, within the contract, so we sign with them between ourselves and those contractors. Thank you for the question too. We do stipulate that we prefer that the majority of the labor come from local, county, state resources. In addition to that is the labor costs within those contracts. It's billed at prevailing wages, which we believe it provides an incentive, right? If you speak of unions, those groups to get involved within the project, as the wage rates would allow for those groups to participate.
Okay, but what, I guess, what if they don't hire any, what is there any, what am I trying to say? Penalty, thank you.
Yeah.
Any type of penalty to your contractors?
The penalty would be ours, as we would have to pay the additional amounts, the additional fees to the IDA. So it's on us, right? So we don't want to pay those additional costs. We have enough costs to pay. Let's get realistic. So certainly the best thing in our best interest is to push on the contractors, both of them, and also so they push on their subcontractors to hire local. Yes. And as I said, they're not going to hire civil works companies that are in an adjoining state. They're simply going to truck bulldozers, gravel, drive pylons, those types of things. Those is, and historically in solar construction, those come from local resources.
So before you start the project, would it be possible to get an estimate, for instance, because
Well, you must know when you start.
right,
Who's
yeah,
coming
a
from where.
month before the project
Works.
starts, right,
Yeah.
you have an idea of who's from New York, who's from contiguous counties, and who's from the local county. Is that something you could share with us before construction starts?
I can, sure. Yes, because you're right. I mean, those subcontractors will be already be assigned, will be contracted. They've got to mobilize. So to the extent they may hire groups in stages, right? So you may not hire the ones installing the solar panels because you don't necessarily need to. You'll be negotiating those contracts. But the first groups you would hire are those that would install fencing, would clear any brush, anything that needs to be cleared, would scrape as needed, right, in order to do any kind of land works. So it may be, I can give an update, very happy to, but it may not, I'm just saying, it may not show the complete picture.
Is it safe to say they generally use the same groups and just travel around with these different contractors to do this work?
For some work, yes. So if there's any kind of substation work, bus bar welding, some things that are highly specialized, is they typically have crews that habitually use, yes. But as far, again, you're not going to take a civil works crew out of Malone, New York, and bring them down here. It just doesn't make sense, right? It just would increase costs. which wouldn't work. So in that case, they would, again, try to source that locally.
You mentioned two contractors, one was O'Connell, what was the other one? I'm sorry.
Yeah, SC Electric.
And what is the difference between them and
Oh,
O'Connell then? What do they do that O'Connell wouldn't do?
great. O'Connell really specializes in the electrical portion of it. Right, so the electrical connections, any types of substation that's required, the point of interconnect with the utility that owns the overhead line that we'll connect to. Where CS more so is involved in all the civil types of works and the actual panel installation. That's now kind of the dividing line.
Now, Ray, I know, and John, you know, about a year or two ago, we had the local electrical union here complaining that we weren't using their folks. Are we gonna, is that gonna be an issue that we might encounter? IBEW.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and I'll go back.
He called me like almost every day and he sat in the parking lot. And he took the license plate numbers of out of state vehicles that was working on the solar out here.
Yes.
Finally, he called me so much, I told him he better go get a job someplace.
Yeah, so if you still have the contact information, and our person certainly may, then it'd be good for that person, IBEW, to get in touch with our person, so they could be directed proper way. I don't speak for CS nor for O'Connell, nor for any other subcontractors. Yes.
But we also don't want to put up with headaches that are unnecessary.
I don't want to be put too much burden on either yourselves or the subcontractors, but previously, last year or the year before, is Sun East, was that the company that we denied? Was that the same company we denied?
That was last year.
All right, so I guess one of the things I would look for, and I don't think it's unrealistic, is either a report or something to that effect, showing the unions that were contacted, whether it's electrical or any of the other unions. Because prior to that, we were told that, the workers weren't available or the workers didn't want to do it. And for me, if I were to see CS or O'Connell, give a brief report saying, hey, we contacted these unions, they didn't have anybody available, or whatever that might be, that's great. I mean, you made the effort. If the union had people out on different projects and couldn't provide any people, that's all we're asking for is for our people to have a chance to work on these jobs. And if they can't for one reason or another, whether it be too specialized or they're just not available, that's understandable.
Yeah, I respond. I do not think that's unreasonable. I think that's fine. And I know within the labor waiver request itself that it identifies different groups to be contacted.
Right.
Yeah, and our response here, if you saw it, so we haven't contacted them yet because again, I'm not either of the any of the subcontractors, but we commit to contacting those groups, right, in our hiring process. So don't think that's unrealistic. I'm with you. I totally support hiring as much local labor as we can. So happy to provide that.
Is there a total number of employees that would be on the project?
There is, I don't have the number. I'm
Okay.
sorry.
I do
Yeah,
from your
you do.
application that I can share. I don't have it in.
That was
Top
just
of mind, but-
estimated, like rough number.
I
Being here,
it's not in there, but I can
Okay.
quickly look it up.
I was just curious.
once it's done, you don't have any.
Well, we don't. Yeah, there'll be, I mean, there's maintenance requirements, right?
Yeah, but very low
Yeah, it's
employment.
low. Yeah, they're self-sustaining. There's there's motors to control tilts. There's
But
yeah, it's a little different to say a wind project or something else.
now you say you can do this in what time period?
I think the time frame I had read is like in the 6-month period. from start.
For the connect and everything,
For everything.
because they've been monkeying around with those two in front of my house that my wife screams about, and the same one down below. They've been like 3-4 years. And they still haven't got them plugged in. Next dam.
Oh, okay, interesting. Yeah, not sure about the project, what the outcomes are.
No,
Right,
but
I mean,
your time frame, and what I've seen,
yeah,
both the ones down there by Bosse's and the one by my place. Have never been done that quickly.
yes.
So you will you will keep this project, or is it your intent to develop it, bring it online and then sell it off?
Yeah, it's our intent to keep it and operate it. Yes,
The question comes from, seems like we get into these within a few months and all of a sudden they change hands.
yes. Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, it's typical, and also like the 5 megawatt, 3 to 5 megawatt projects, more community solar based projects have that tendency that they'll be built, a group of them, a portfolio of them will be sold. It's just profitable for the developer, right? So they can invest in the next few or next many projects that they want to push forward development on. Also, when you find a developer who might be capital constrained, right, they have the tendency to manage those assets for value. So again, they'll get a number of them, they'll pull them together and they'll sell that. As I mentioned earlier, Cordelia being backed by a multi-billion-dollar pension fund puts us in a little bit of a different category.
Are you folks on exchange stock, public company or private?
CPP, Canadian pension is, yeah, but Cordelia Power is not.
Okay.
And besides, I would think one of the upsides of keeping the projects is the next ones we want to do, say in the next counties, be always great for the head of their, the IDAs to talk to one another, chairpersons to talk to one another about the experience, and also to bring people out and let them tour the facility. It definitely make a difference. It's like a little easier.
How many projects do you currently own and manage?
Right now in New York, I'd say we've got about 20, we have 10 that we want to start construction on this year. 10 projects this year, significant investment. In addition to that, we've got another 12 or so that are under development, various places within New York, and also in various stages. Some are very, very early stage, initial contact. Some would be our next round of projects after these first 10 that we want to construct. That's only in New York. We also have development activities in Pennsylvania, almost just about every state. It's easier to name areas we don't. Southeast, for example, I would say that we're just completing today a large-scale battery project in Illinois, and we're also in the process of constructing a wind project, all places, Louisiana. So it's a large portfolio. I would turn you towards the website, yeah, CordeliaPower.com. Yes.
How do you want to proceed?
So any additional questions? So there would have to be a motion, and Tracy, I'm not sure if you wanted to read off the roll call vote for each project.
Can you read like a little bit of the?
Yes. Okay, I will go through individually. The first project being Dog Corners. I'm going to go to the project description itself. So going below, if you go to page 74, rather than reading every bit of the resolution itself, I'm just going to read the project overview for each. Okay. Again, this first resolution, project authorizing for Dog Corners Solar, New York LLC project. Whereas Dog Corners Solar, for itself and or for an entity or entities to be formed, has submitted an updated application to the agency requesting the agency's assistance a certain project consisting of one, the acquisition by the agency of the leasehold interest in approximately 140 acres of real property located at 2663 Dog Corners Road in the town of Ledyard, New York. Two, the planning, design, construction, and operation of a 20 megawatt PV solar electrical generation system, including panel foundations, inverters, transformers, interconnect wiring on and off-site utility connections, site work, landscaping, fencing, security, and related improvements. The acquisition of and installation in and around the land, and improvements by the company of machinery, equipment, fixtures, and other items of intangible personal property. And four, entering into a straight lease transaction pursuant to which the agency will retain a leasehold interest in the facility for a period of time and sublease such facility in the facility back to the company. Okay. Anything else? Unless Jesse or Rick tells me I need to read any additional items?
No, I think you can call the motion, and if the board has any other questions on the motion or second, consider adoption.
There a motion to approve.
So I'll make a motion, second.
Motion made and seconded. Further questions and discussion?
Yeah,
For
just
clarity, this is just clearly just a pilot, correct? It has nothing, no sales tax exemption or anything like that.
No, this is the first instance they are seeking sales and use tax exemption now and to close on a pilot in the early part of 2025.
But there is sales tax.
Yes.
Roll call vote, Trace?
hold on. And-
Oh, excuse me,
and we're all comfortable and understand the penalty for the
labor.
local labor where we didn't have that last time. We
No,
have it
and that's,
now.
that will be built
And
into
that's
our
built in. Okay,
contract
and
documents.
I'd rather have the labor than the penalty, but
Right.
at least we'll get something. That's all I know.
Tracy, if you would.
Mr. Lockwood,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale,
Yeah.
Mr. Latinisham,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Ms. Adams is excused, Ms. Spino,
Yes.
Mr. Reinflush.
Yes.
All present voting aye.
Yes.
You can see our concern though,
Yes,
with the labor.
very clear. I agree. I'd rather have the labor than the penalty.
I won't get in my personal concern about good farmland being turned into solar, but
So that's one project. We have one more to do here. So that was for the Dog Corners project in the town of Ledyard. The next one is for the other project in the town of Scipio, beginning on page 83. Again, project authorizing resolution. If you would like me to read the project description, I can, or you can move to a motion.
Motion.
Yes, motion.
yeah,
Okay,
second
That's the second.
first and second, okay?
discussion. Questions? Roll call, please.
Mr. Lockwood,
Yes.
Mr. Vitale.
Yes.
Mr. Latinisham,
Yes.
Mr. Shea,
Yes.
Ms. Adams is excused, Ms. Spino,
Yes.
Mr. Reinflush.
Yes.
All present voting aye, carried. Thanks, guys.
Great, thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right,
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike.
We'll be in touch.
good. Look forward to
Thanks
it.
so much for coming.
Again, I'll leave my cards.
Yeah.
Just you want reduce pressure on anyone in the parking lot, write down numbers, just hand them. Would you? There you go.
That's
Thank
because
you.
Ray owed him money. That's.
Oh,
That's.
that's it.
Report of
Yeah.
executive director update.
Oh, no. Thank you.
Thank you.
If anyone needs those. Okay, so you have my written report in the packet. If you're able to find it, I made sure it was a big packet, so you couldn't.
I like the numbers are all page or the.
I'll give that
backwards.
credit, I'll give that credit to
What number is that?
the written report.
Yeah.
Well, get past the Jills.
Not far, it's 8.
Thank you.
Hold on, it's in there. It's in there.
It's 27.
Page 27, Tracy said.
Oh, that's your bill or something, right? Sorry.
So that's the written report, but as I've typically done, I come in with some walk-on updates in addition to the written report. Speaking of solar projects, been in contact with the Nextera Garnet project up in Conquest. Still having discussions with them. I most recently had some dialogue with their project manager. And we'll have a call with her again next week. They've been going through some finalization of their plans with third parties. That has somewhat held up the process and progress of their project there, but feeling, pretty confident that we'll see some good movement on that over the next few months here. Going on from that, to Finger Lakes Rail, we just received their application this week, so beginning to review that, looking to have that on next month's agenda. Some of the other counties have received them thus far. Part of this coordination effort is working with Justin through all of this, as it's pretty complex and trying to get some more substance and definition of what their actual project exactly will be. A couple of other updates, continuing to meet with Tracy, Steve Lynch, Jenny Haynes from the city of Auburn, and Bob Griffin from the Small Business Development Center around coordination of efforts related to county and city economic development. So I think everything's been handled right now. I personally haven't heard any particular issue amongst our friends in the business community saying, things are really out of whack right here. Little else to report on that particular item. You will see on your agenda later is a discussion around our approved banking institutions. I'll kind of pause breath there in case John wanted to add anything at the moment, but there was some news that came out somewhat recently that we'll discuss more in depth later here, but making note of it now. Lastly, there was an energy economic summit up in Syracuse earlier in the month. And that was attended by members from New York State, the Department of Energy, a lot of who's up there all around the state's goals related to renewable energy development and looking to meet commitments made by the Climate Act. So some good information came out of there, most notably that NYSEG is looking to meet with us on October 4th. More than happy to get anyone in this room invited to that meeting. They're looking to sit down with all community leaders around developments they have on their end. And for us, it's of particular importance as more and more projects, both current and potential, are looking for more energy, and it's becoming a big issue for us. So I'll pause there to answer any questions on both the verbal or written updates here.
I see now with both seats, how are we doing with the right of way?
Yeah, so this actually came up as an issue over the last month here. We were approved the right of way easement by BOCES. My understanding, and I have checked with both the town of Aurelius as well as Cayuga Milk Ingredients, they will be moving forward on that water line, just the two of them. So
But I think we should still get that right away
we
in
still,
case we need in the future.
so I inquired to Brian Linney about that in particular, and he did not feel, based on all information he has at the moment, that they will need any additional water or sewer. More of his concern was around wastewater. So with all of that being said, BOCES is somewhat offended that we have that right away, and both the town and the milk plant are going in a different direction. So we're a little bit middle there. I'm happy to speak with their board about that or their director directly about that.
But I thought we were just about done with it. I mean, why aren't we proceeding to get the right of way?
We do have the right of way. We have it. That was
What's the
finalized.
offense about?
I think it was more of their understanding is you went in there, you asked us for this right of way, we pulled together all of these efforts, and now you're going in a completely different direction. So they're of the understanding you wasted our time.
So their attorney spent time doing all this stuff and then nothing.
Mhm.
Well, I don't know if it's probably reimbursing for the fees or.
They reimburse them for anything.
Would it be,
Maybe CMI should.
Wasn't us, we had no control.
Yeah, I mean.
I mean, we were trying to be good neighbors.
keeping the right of way? For us to keep the right of way, there's no harm in that, right?
They requested we rescind the right of way,
They,
BOCES.
Absolutely, because then they don't know what you're gonna use it for in the future.
That was part of the concern, and when I had requested of BOCES that we have that, they were adamant, you're only using it for this specific purpose, this and this alone. So I think that's also where their concern is if we just hold on to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should hang on to it. I think there may still be. You know, there will be more expansions and eventually you might need it for the water.
That's specifically what I spoke to Brian about, was concern over another expansion. I said, we're getting close to finishing up the sewer project. We don't want to do this again in a couple more years.
Right.
So tell me about what you're thinking for a potential third expansion, what your sewer and water capacity requirements are. He said based on the upgraded sewer facility, they should be all set. Plenty set there, and he said with the water and the proposed water line that they're working on with the town, he said everything that he's aware of at this time for a potential third expansion, they would be all set. And that's, I specifically brought up.
kind of heard that before though.
Yeah.
I know that, and that's what I said to him is we had attained this right of way through BOCES. And we need some information about this. And he said at this time, you should be all set.
And then 5 years from now.
Or
At this
or
time, at this
two,
time.
yeah.
Can we just get that? In writing,
From Brian.
yeah, just, that's what, put it down in writing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, it's fine for him to change his mind, I mean, that's business, I'm not gonna fault him, but, you know. BOCES did do the work, so.
But they're not the only company over there though,
Right,
right? I mean, yeah, Grover's looking to expand possibly.
I've
It's
asked
also
them,
interesting-
I've asked them about that. Their requirements aren't near as much as Cayuga Milk, so they are actually fine as is. And with the additional line that will go in, Grover Denkovic will have access to that, which will provide additional capacity if required for them.
So. Are we still selling, or have we sold the extra parcels?
No,
Mhm.
No, and.
The milk plant has a right of first refusal. on it.
First refusal. And how long are we granting that right?
Through the end of next year.
Okay, so we're not charging for that, right? It's not, we're not treating it as an option or anything like that.
It's so if somebody comes in and says they want to buy it, they've got a match.
So end of next year, okay. And then Dankovic,
Mhm.
they're all set with what they have. They're not at this point anyways,
They're still evaluating some other things.
Okay.
Right now, they haven't shared anything with me, and that's you know,
Okay. And any requests for the corner parcel there?
the small one.
That was gonna get cut in half or shared between Dankovic and.
they turned it down. They said they didn't need it, no.
Oh, that
No. another company wanted to move in there and we were holding off on. What's it, Monroe or something?
Yeah.
Monroe tractor.
Yeah, up the road.
Yeah, so there's no interest
The
in
game
that,
machine guy.
or we found a different spot for them, or
I had
do
been
we
in
need to go
contact.
into
I
executive?
had, well, I had been in contact with them. I do know. They had spoken with Doug Wayne about some land that he owns, as, you know, some potential interest there. I had reached back out to Monroe Tractor without any follow-up.
All right, I noticed something here with Doug being amenable to on a land deal, right? That's in here somewhere.
Potentially,
Okay. Okay.
at
So,
a minimum, a discussion.
okay. If I can, just for a second, because you did bring in economic development, so just an update, the CCDC did meet this week, this week,
Last week, Thursday.
last week, Thursday, was it? Okay. And just as an update, there's not much going forward other than there was the meeting represented
Just the one email.
Yeah,
county, and then the city was represented.
yeah, just got a phone.
We interviewed a
You wanted to see.
executive,
Yeah, you can.
Like a.
think of a better word, executive search person that, oh, Tracy was there too, that's right. And so we are in the process of hiring that individual to go out and begin the process of looking for an executive director. And within that also was a discussion about who should be on that search committee. And so it'll be the board, a representative from whether it's city or ADA, they will decide that probably today. And then it'll be a representative from the legislature. So that's as far as it's gotten so far.
And you'd be representing IDA and,
Oh, I'm just updating it because I said on both. I think
Right.
IDA needs to decide who wants to represent them.
That would bump it up to 8.
No, I would just step backwards and not represent.
I
Either.
think we should have further discussion on this in executive session. But I think there's other stuff we have to do in executive session too, so.
That's it.
Any other questions of me? All right,
report to the treasurer.
Oh. That's me.
You with us today?
The financial reports are in the packet. There's not a ton to report, some administrative fees.
it's actually fake.
Fake, just kidding. Yeah, I was like, what is that? I don't remember that. All the bills that we just talked about, nothing terribly out of the normal on the P&L. Unless you have something to add. The balance sheet looking pretty similar to how it did last month. Continuing to make little tweaks here and there to clean up some odd bits and bobs in QuickBooks, so it's getting closer and closer to accurate every time, which is good. So I think we're continuing to head in a good direction with the financials, but you know, you've got about $1.8 million in your bank accounts, and then another with considering some of the grants you're still expecting to receive and the transfer of the sewer line, you have about $990,000 of receivables as well. We are also in the process of doing the school pilot billing, so we're creating those bills now, and they should be ready to go out in the next few days, probably early next week.
Tracy, I will say you and your staff are excellent to work with. So I get emails. The best part of it is they remind me when the meetings are. They run topping, but you guys, the financials have truly never looked better. They look great. There were some hiccups, but that was to be expected and you guys are doing a great job.
Is that a motion to accept the report?
Absolutely, a long way. I'll make a motion to accept the report, Ray.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Is there any questions for the treasurer? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, Trace. Unfinished.
Start with the sewer line update here. Steve, if you're on, would you like to pick this one off here? I know you sent out a couple of emails later this afternoon.
Yes, finally, the metering has been set up between the city and the pump. So that's good news. We're gonna have a generator test on 9/26, and the startup will be October 2nd. And at that point, we should be good to go.
Guys.
Bring champagne to
There
the.
was a-
I like the
5
enthusiasm.
feet of run. When the first turd goes down.
Yeah. You wanna be there, huh?
That's great.
How are we coming about getting our money from water and sewer?
I think Justin, if I saw my banner headline properly, has prepared all the dedication agreement legal items. Justin, if you want to speak to that.
Yeah, I circulated earlier today, a transfer agreement that would, in essence, give the Water and Sewer Authority title to the entire sewer project by assigning 3 existing easements that the IDA received from CMI, the county for a portion of Eagle Drive, and then from the town of Aurelius over by Ellis Drive. There's also a long 5,000-foot gap in the middle that the agreement provides them with an easement for as well that runs tandem to the existing gravity line. There's also a bill of sale to transfer the equipment that's associated with the project, the generator and all the electric materials and any movable parts. So generally when we pass inspection, I assume that will be the case. And the Water and Sewer Authority is ready to proceed with accepting everything. We can have those documents executed and the $400,000 transfer queued up.
So when will? Is there an inspection or so when does everybody meet to do whatever needs to be done to get us to finalize this?
From my end, we'll have to get the legal work to our board, get board approval for the dedication agreement. We're gonna do startup October 2nd. Justin, excuse me, Michael and I has met with the town of Aurelius in the city of Auburn 2 weeks ago. There's a couple of small things that need to be worked out, but nothing insurmountable. The consensus was that once we started these, we would leave them running. And that was all agreed upon. So I think that everything is kind of falling into place. I think it's a couple board decisions and we can close this up.
Your board, not us, right?
Our board will need to, I'll need a resolution from our board.
Okay.
And I don't see a problem there. That's not, everyone's fully aware of this project, so I don't think there's any surprises.
Okay. And then
we'd have to make a motion to approve Justin's documents.
Okay, right. Is that right, Justin?
That's correct.
Better.
Then the other question is what 400,000?
Yeah. Right. No.
Yeah.
Because it was 500.
Was it? Doesn't matter. There's good news and bad news on that. Yeah. They invested the money, but it didn't turn out well. But I think we had a pretty good meeting with the city and the town of Aurelius. There's a couple other housekeeping issues, but nothing insurmountable.
Good.
Yep, agreed.
Questions? Thanks. Market study proposal.
Mike, I have one question for you.
Sure.
When you talked to Brian Linney about, you said, we have some concerns about potential flows in the future. Or capacity for sewer. He's very comfortable with everything. And we understand the limitations on the pumps and the city's ability to take sewage. He's aware of that.
I didn't get that deep into it, but.
Okay, okay, all
I
right.
don't blame you.
Okay.
So you got into the water, but you just skimmed across the
Stay safe.
sewage?
Wasn't wearing my boots for that.
That's a deep subject.
Well, I mean, those are great points, but I also think he has people on staff that would have advised, I would hope, advised him of that. I mean,
I don't know, I didn't know about the water stuff when he built the building, so.
Well, is that the end of the sewer discussion? I'm gonna let you, folks get to your,
If you had anything else to add,
I don't.
while we're on it here, or if board members have any additional questions, we're getting very near the end here, so I'm happy to say that. I don't know if Carl or Steve can bring a little bit of wet cement so you guys can put your hands around the generator or anything else.
it's a good idea.
Yeah.
But you know some people? Somebody in the concrete business?
Yeah, but.
They won't give
They
it to you.
should.
Carl, you are a board, and sometimes I forgot you weren't.
No, just to help, just to help. Yeah.
The only thing, I guess, is the timing of the board meetings. If we wanna get something done within the next month or so, we gotta figure that out.
So I believe our next meeting is the 17th. Yes.
So you're right, if you wanna
17th.
do it sooner, you gotta meet soon.
Yeah, or approve it now or something, right?
Those documents just got through today, so I haven't been able to look at them. I know none of you have had that chance yet.
Well, if you're all right, you can make a motion to authorize Mike and our attorney to, and whoever else you want to, give them the authority to do the agreement with Water and Sewer Authority.
Yeah, I'd second that.
I didn't make the motion. I said,
Oh,
I didn't make the motion.
I was just gonna
What we have to do.
I was gonna ask you if that's a motion.
No, it's not. But
It is
somebody
not?
can make the motion.
That is a motion.
No, it's not.
Okay,
But I'll make the motion. The motion is whatever Ben just said.
So
but Ben didn't
Michael,
say it.
attorneys, and who else?
Mike, the attorney, and who else you want, I would say.
Yeah, right.
Right, there you go.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion about,
I'll
Ben not
second it
making a
if somebody
motion?
didn't second it.
Oh, no.
Andy did.
Oh, okay.
And I ain't trying to weasel in.
No,
huh?
I'm not.
Oh, boy.
Just trying to help out.
And the water authority board meets October 16th. So hopefully we have everything completed at that board meeting to pass, that they would accept, and we can get the dedication agreement completed.
So we'll have a check on the 17th. Nice.
Depends on the stock market, but yeah.
All in favor?
We're all-
Aye.
Any opposed? Carried, thanks. Thanks, Ben, for not making that.
No problem, right?
Market study proposal.
Okay, so as requested, and an update from last month, we had 3 proposals in your packet for the mall property that we own right now. This is part of the reason the packet is so big. 3 proposals come from CNS companies, MRB Group, and Camoin. I don't know if everybody has had a chance to read through those in a little more detail. We had,
Can you summarize it?
sure. So they're all somewhat similar in nature based on what we have requested of them is we own a good chunk of land next to Finger Lakes Mall. It has access to 5 and 20. It has the potential for rail infrastructure. The initial thinking we had was, could we utilize this space for warehousing based on feedback we had been receiving, and access to rail would have been a great plus around that. A good couple of months ago, it was motioned by the board to received some proposals around a market study in particular to say, well, what's the actual demand for warehousing or other light industrial manufacturing that could really come in to utilize that space, and if rail is possible, that's great. So for CNS in particular, coming in at the highest bid, their base services is 30.5 thousand with an add-on for rail supplement at 10,000. So the all-in cost there is 40.5 thousand. But it's much more in depth, I'll say, than the other two there. I'm not entirely sure and I'm making no recommendation here. That's for you to decide. It may be a little too detailed for what we're looking for there. The ultimate point that I believe we've all agreed to is with this market study proposal that can be leveraged in particular for a Fast New York grant, which helps make the site more shovel ready by doing a deeper dive on site analysis, any additional site work to make it more attractive as it is. And we also have had some interest from a couple of different parties. Most recently, the milk plant had shared with me that they would be very interested in warehousing over there. So I'm looking to have a more in-depth discussion with Brian and his team the coming weeks around that. But going on from CNS, you also have MRB and Camoin, which have a very similar proposal there. I'm not sure about MRB's work in doing this sort of study. Camoin did share that they've done this, and it's included in the packet. They've done very similar studies just like this before with other counties and other IDAs. The difference being between these two from just a bid perspective is MRB came in at 15,000 and Camoins was 24,000.
Wow, that's all over the place.
Yeah.
That's a good range.
So just going back to last month's meeting minutes. Show you where I went. And Andy had brought up the point, which I totally agree with. So I'm afraid I hope the other two, which is Camoin and MRB, didn't get the sense that this was just because to me, that's really the way I was thinking is it's just a study about warehousing. And Andy makes a great point. It really, I think
It's
warehousing and best uses, higher income. So what can we put in there? So I did like that point.
Put in there, meaning the land or the rail.
And the rail that Andy had another couple of months back.
Right.
With regards to rail and, its uses and things like that, which was great. Thank you. So I just want to make sure that all three of the companies were working with the same idea that.
The same scope.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, we're
Apple,
looking
apple.
for whatever.
But that's a great point, John. So what? I mean, in my mind, like Ray and I have talked about this. We don't really have an unemployment problem. So what we should be looking for, if we're gonna create jobs, we want to create high paying. And I think the cancer. At the hospital, that was a great stroke of business, because those are all big paying jobs. So I think that's one of the objectives we have is we want to create jobs, we want them to be good, high paying jobs.
Yeah. So when we see this big difference between 40,000 to 15,000, I'm just thinking maybe
What
they're
was, were
not.
you given, sorry,
No, go
let's
ahead.
get to the point.
I'm trying, but no, go ahead.
Was
I know what
everyone
you're
given
gonna
the
say.
same scope, like, with literally, like, here's what we
Well,
need?
But I think CNS, if you look at theirs, they're talking about getting into doing almost more of the seeker work, soil test.
Mm.
And I don't think we really want that. We want more of a
Down the road, maybe, but
Yeah.
Not
some point.
initially.
What we want now at this point is what the market feasibility study.
To your point, yes, I've had those discussions with Moines CNS and then with you, Tracy, directly, and I would say your proposal, I'm not sure if you looked at the other ones, but yours in particular, when I received it, it's beyond just warehousing or rail. It's as discussed with the board of what other options here. Warehousing is just a concept, but to your concerns as raised, that's what was shared with both of those companies, and that's what's in those proposals there. So as I said, with CNS, and as you pointed out, that's very in depth of what they're looking at there. And I can't speak to the difference between MRB and Moines.
Should we discuss this in executive session?
Probably. Oh, is
You
that a
wanna kick me
motion?
out? Is that
Sure.
what you're doing?
Second,
You wanna hold that to the end?
I think so.
Okay. Well, we'll set that to the side. Board officer nominations.
We didn't meet.
Well, this isn't around the governance committee. This is actually back on the agenda from last month where the board had raised, I want to say the early part of summer is would like to start having discussions around committees and board leadership prior to December. Is to at least start having a discussion around it. So right now you have your executive members between Ray, John, Gina as your chair, vice chair, and secretary. And your governance committee members include Andy, Donna, and Gina, and finance committee members being Ben, John, and Ray. So I don't know if you wanted. What's
I'm
it?
impressed that you could remember all of those.
It's nice working with one board. So, if you wanted to have some discussion around it, or at least set up some sort of nominating committee, or I
I think
can
the
help.
governing committee usually send them.
Mhm.
Think so.
Actually, we had a nominating committee, didn't we?
Usually do, yeah. Gina's in between.
Oh, I thought Herbie was the nominating committee.
It was.
That's right.
So who wants to be a nominating?
Well, I thought last few times the governing committee had done that.
I
No,
don't know.
we've always had a nominee.
Second.
Gina and, I think Gina and John, I can't remember the third.
Herb.
Who?
Good old Herb.
Herb was
Yeah, but,
a
yeah.
nominating.
No longer.
No, I'm saying he
Yeah,
was.
right. Gina, pick another member.
Oh, put it on me.
Sure, you wanna be,
Yeah.
continue there, I'm asking?
Do I want to continue to be the chair?
Yes,
Vice chair, you mean?
no,
What?
of the nominating.
Oh. Yeah.
John's already said he's willing.
So why don't we ask maybe Donna?
Well, she's not here, so just.
That-
put her
Yeah,
on the
because I
list.
think she's new, right?
There you go.
That's how it works.
I just heard Donna volunteer.
Actually, she called me earlier and said, if you ever had a nominating committee, I'd like to be on it.
That's why you don't miss a meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Anything else on that then?
No, I'll follow up with the nominating committee with details, and if you guys go with it.
And in general, is everybody willing to stay on their current roles?
Well,
Well, I think everybody's term, I think yours is, I don't mean to point Bob, is you're the only one who's termed at the end of this year, to my knowledge, unless something else, I don't know. That's, I believe, the only one that's on the board right now.
So can we leave it as if anybody's interested in any of the positions to get a hold of Gina, she's done.
Right.
Boy, I gotta stop sitting next to you.
I don't do it.
And then,
between the two of us,
just to make
you're
it-
done.
make it a little simpler. Can we assume everybody's willing to serve in their current position?
Well, I think it's good though. If somebody doesn't feel that way and they're not here to say it out loud, they should definitely reach out to one of us on the committee.
You call Donna.
I'll let Ben break the news to her.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Report of the governance committee.
There isn't one, so due to some member conflicts, we opted to cancel for today and we'll look to either meet. Ahead of next month's regular board meeting, which also will have a finance committee meeting. Or at a separate date altogether, but there's a couple items there that will have to be covered in the governance committee. Ahead of next month, so
Renewable development projects.
where is that?
I don't know. It's right below the report from governance committee.
I think you tapped.
That, oh, no, that's just a sub item,
Okay,
so.
approved banking institutions.
So I'll pass this one over to John, but as I mentioned earlier today, there was some news that came out around Generations Bank, which,
Who's owning it, that kind of?
yes, so I'll pause on that.
Donna said she heard all that.
Hi, Donna.
I forgot about that.
Tell her we love her.
I'll pause on that there.
Preliminary 25 budget.
Okay. So everyone has this in your packet. It is at the end here. It's page 90. So we have to pass the budget next month. We have to have our approved budget into the state reporting system by October 31st. Based on some of the uncertainty going around economic development and everything you've been through this year and what you have going into next year. I put together a couple of proposed options here. Most of the conditions are the same between both. And that goes from most of your operational expenses, your projected fees from your pipeline, which I will admit is quite extensive based on some of the larger renewable energy projects here. Including the Sun East projects that will be closing on in full in the early part of next year. But going on down here, and you also have this in your packet, because it wasn't printed in color, is I highlighted.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's quite all right. Glad you did. It's trying to find it there. I am trying to find where it is. Oh, it's out of
Talking
order.
about page 93, the options,
Yeah,
93.
Yeah.
I was looking for on page 94, but yes, page 93 basically says in summary, you can go status quo as things are right now, as I can continue in my capacity and Tracy and MRB and theirs for 6 months, and then it considers moving to the CCDC proposed one stop about halfway through the year. I have a plugged in number there. It's just high level. It's certainly up for debate and change. The other item I added in is I had asked Tracy to say if the board would like to move on beyond me and to engage Tracy's firm entirely. Dak is both director and an admin person, that's also in there. But same assumption is only for 6 months, then moving to the CCDC model.
Right.
So all those items are up for debate. I wanted to get this high level prelim out for everyone to kind of take a look at of what you might be able to consider going into next month, which will have some more detail there. But it's certainly worth the consideration and different feedback on the board's part here ahead of next month and before the finance committee meets itself.
I think this is great, Mike. Gives us an idea. Okay.
And I'll be working on a more detailed version there. This was more, again, high level. I wasn't going to be straight down to each line item, say what exactly is Zoom costing the firm right now. And that was one of the other difficult considerations is if you do move to a one-stop CCDC model again, do you have a similar setup as you did with CETA, where they're helping cost share all of those things? So if you completely change the script and narrative, it's probably far too complicated to really
Yeah.
project that out. So I really wanted to just focus on the admin piece in particular and say, here's the differences there. Whatever flavor you prefer.
So Mike, just so I have it, because I put in my own and it's different pages are different. The one that has Finger Lakes Railroad, $4,000,
Yep,
that's the current.
that's what we received
That's-
this year. We have.
No, what I'm saying, this budget is for as we are right now. I'm looking at,
Which column are you in?
well, all right, so
His pages are all messed up here.
not my fault.
Well,
All right, so it would be your page. 93.
Well, if you're looking at Finger Lakes Rail, it'd be the top line. I just need to know the column.
what page? Oh,
For us, it would be 92.
okay.
Yes, page 92.
Yep.
92. No, but that's 92 is how we're structured right now. That's the budget for 90, page 90.
Yeah, if we go through the columns, there's the actual July year to date. What I'm projecting.
No, Mike, I'm saying, because you have three different budgets, right? You have, if we stay the way we are right now,
That's.
which is you as director, Tracy's firm as, helping out. That's page 92.
Let me.
Your page
Let me
92.
take a peek at what you're looking.
Oh, there's option 1 and option 2 there.
Well, there's just, no, all right, so this and this are the same.
These are all the same. So this one, option 1 says status quo. Stick
Okay,
with Tracy and I. This one says, dump me, you date Tracy only.
okay. All right.
Sorry. How about me? I need to
So
stop
looking
saying
at that, like at a 6-month or a 12-month, wouldn't we be better off budgeting higher, more conservative for the year than trying to
I agree.
redo? We can always re-budget everything, right, or reforecast as we go.
Yeah.
But for now, we should go in and think that this could cost us more money at this point, that, So ideally, it would be nice to keep you and Tracy both. It's my thought.
So this was discussion only.
I'm happy to take feedback. As I said, I'm gonna be looking to really tighten this up going into next month, so.
I mean, we're gonna get forced to change it at some point.
Mhm.
We have no idea
Well,
what it's gonna look
I
like.
mean, the budget we have for 2024, because of how the county decided to go with economic development, is completely askew from what we thought operationally and some of the,
Sure.
projects we were looking to close. Powers beyond our control shifted a different direction. That being said, naturally speaking, it's been a very good year so far for the IDA.
Mhm.
So that's where it just becomes a little murkier and trickier as things continue to evolve in the world of county e-contest.
Okay. Look it over and get a full mic for further questions then. When do upcoming events?
Sure. So ABO training for anyone who has not been able to attend thus far. It's pretty close to the wire for this month. That's all I had available when drafting the agendas on September 25th online, 9:30 to 11. And the Chamber of Commerce annual dinner is October 2nd, 5:30 to 8, Emerson Park Pavilion. Whoever would like to attend, let me know and I'll make sure you get on the list. Any takers offhand? Or would you like me to follow up?
Yeah, there's several things going on that week, so I'll have to check.
October second, again, as mentioned earlier, that's gonna be,
The switch on this.
that's exactly it. So if you don't have a reason to go out that night, then maybe that's,
They usually have some good table wine.
that's true.
Mostly going to executive session for contract discussion.
Second.
All in favor?
Give me just a second to